Hi, I'm Jeremy Clark with Group 18 and our CSR reports on Starwood Hotels and Resorts. Starwood is a publicly traded U.S. hotel and resort group with a $7.18 billion market cap. While it is a large group operating in 92 countries, it is not largely known by name. Rather, it's several worldwide brands, which include Sheraton, W Hotels, Le Méridien, just to name a few. Looking at Starwood's value chain, it is similar to the rest of the hotel industry. Its primary activities are all about driving hotel and resort rentals and the logistics that surround this. So, pre-arrival includes cleaning, maintenance, bookings, arrivals, housekeeping, food and beverages, etc. Other primary events include marketing, sales and services, etc. Its supporting activities involve the infrastructure, HR management, technological development, and so on. Now, before we talk about Starwood's corporate social responsibility, it is important to look at CSR and the hotel industry as a whole. This is an industry dominated by large multinational corporations, and almost all of them have a thorough and expansive CSR policy. This, however, is not out of kindness, as CSR policies create enormous value for various stakeholders within the hotel industry. Firstly, because hotel and resorts are both highly visible and international, having strong relations with stakeholders such as governments, locals, environmentalists, etc. is desirable. Most importantly, however, shareholders receive tremendous value from CSR in hotels and resorts. In terms of environmental responsibility, having a strong program lowers cost of energy, which is a tremendous output for a company, and these savings transcend to the balance sheet. Secondly, having strong social CSR helps maintain the best talent, which also lowers a large cost of recruiting and training talented individuals. Also, as customers become more informed, strong CSR policies may affect their choices in choosing a hotel. Looking specifically at Starwood's, it has a thorough CSR policy, yet lags behind the industry norm. Out of the 10 largest hotel companies, Starwood's ranks second to last in terms of CSR. While it has all the components and follows industry standards, such as LEED and energy, there is no central CSR planning within Starwood's. Rather, they delegate the CSR responsibility to each brand. This leads to a fragmented CSR policy, which may differ largely in scope and effectiveness from one another. Also, Starwood tries to deflect responsibility. For example, on its website, it describes its policy as early on in development, and also, the company gives no tangible evidence of its policies or its effects on the environment or society. Our main recommendation is for Starwood to centralize its CSR to become one of the 11 core components of the company. Because this approach will be both somewhat risky and high profile, we recommend using the natural step, or TNS approach. This is an established approach created by a well-known ecologist and manager for creating a transparent, effective corporate social responsibility package. This includes changing the way leadership, the overall vision, employee involvement, and innovation is approached to create incremental yet meaningful shifts towards improved CSR for Starwood. If Starwood puts in place a radical structural change, we can expect them to implement a lot of incremental initiatives. For example, Starwood is already a member of the U.S. Green Building Council, but now they could even set further targets for reducing fuel and water consumption. Also, Starwood's a member of LEED, Leadership in Energy Environmental Design. But with that, they could go further and increase the usage of renewable energy in their facilities. Another example is that Starwood already partners with Sustainable Travel International and is part of a carbon offset program. They could also take that further and inspire their employees and guests to implement green initiatives at their homes. Once again, they already have education and training for associates in environmental sustainability. And now they could take that and force suppliers to do the same thing so that they're all in line with Starwood's green initiatives. If Starwood implements its radical incremental environmental changes, we will be able to see a new value chain. For example, in the supporting activities, the infrastructure will change. There'll be a hotel environmental charter, a new core green office, as well as an internal environmental audit, a CSR report, and local community relations so that Starwood can get involved in their local environmental protection activities. In HR management, sustainability and education and training will be part of their recruitment and health services. And in technology development, we'll increase green building technology, energy conservation technology, water conservation technology, and recycling technology. This value chain also changes in primary activities. And for pre-arrival, we'll be able to use environmentally responsible purchases and energy efficient equipment. For arrival, there'll be water conservation,
fair trade, nutritional, and balanced food and beverages. And in departure, we'll use ecological paper, shuttle services, which mean less polluting, and waste and gray water recycling. It is clear that with these changes in place, the value chain becomes more socially responsible.
These are significant steps. We believe this radical change and the more incremental innovative steps will create a more meaningful, cost-effective CSR policy for Starwood Hotel and Resorts. Firstly, as we mentioned earlier, there will be greater savings for shareholders. This centralized approach will create a more standardized environmental policy, which will transfer to cost savings in the balance sheet and hopefully the share prices. Also, for ethical reasons, this approach should bring Starwood above industry standards, which will show all stakeholders the ethics lived and portrayed within this company.
When looking at this chart, it is clear that our recommendations will improve the CSR of Starwood. Look at the concept of citizenship. Starwood moves to an integrated approach from an innovative approach. In strategic intent, Starwood moves even further. Now they're just making a business case, but soon they're going to create new markets and social change. In leadership, right now they're supportive, but with our changes they'll become visionary in the hotel industry. For structure, they just have an elementary system, but we want to integrate their entire environmental technology into the mainstream. In terms of issues, right now they're just reactive, doing what the industry wants, but we want to make it more integrated and proactive, so it's clear that Starwood cares about the issues. In terms of stakeholder relationships, they already have alliance and partnerships, which is integrated in the company, but we want to make it transformative into multi-organizational issues. And in terms of transparency, right now they just do PR, but we want to give them full disclosure so all stakeholders know that Starwood is very serious about corporate social responsibility.
While we feel our recommendation provides the necessary change to Starwood for achieving a CSR policy above the industry norm, we also accept there are some challenges with this implementation. These implementations are not simple. There are several difficult factors that Starwood must come to terms with. Firstly, it may be dangerous for some of the brands Starwood is associated with. Each Starwood brand is known for different things, and creating a uniform CSR policy may damage each brand's uniqueness. Secondly, there may be structural issues with the creation of a central CSR branch. Combining 11 different divisions into one central CSR branch may be difficult to manage, creating hardship in implementing a core CSR policy. That being said, the pros of this change outweigh the cons, and our recommendation should provide Starwood with a strong centralized CSR policy that could lead its entire industry.